Hello, Rejects. It's Greg here with my teacher from class, Kimberly Bigsby.
See, you said it that time, and
Yeah.
the last time you made me say it.
I know, I was trying something
A
different.
lot of confusion.
You know, that's the thing when I do other takes.
Yeah.
Every time I do another take, you'll learn that about me in class. Just do it a little different every time.
It is.
I'm one of those actors, you know, I just don't do the same thing twice. La La Land is coming out really soon. I caught an early screening of La La Land.
Did you?
Yeah, I caught it in Switzerland. Hands down, my favorite film of the year. And I've seen all the big hailed ones, and it's my favorite film of the year thus far. So I thought we should do a video today of top 5 Ryan Gosling performances.
Which was really hard.
It is hard. He's got a lot of great films out there. I'm not including La La Land on this list specifically because it's like, this is just pre-La La Land. This is to entice you to go watch La La Land. I'll kick this list off. For my number 5 choice, I'm choosing the movie Half Nelson. I'm assuming it's probably gonna be on your list somewhere too. Half Nelson is the only movie I think Ryan Gosling has got an Oscar nomination for.
Yeah.
It's a great movie. I saw it on Netflix. Man, a teacher struggling with drug addiction, and it's this really like gritty character study about this relationship that he forms with this like student as well.
Yeah.
And Ryan Gosling, if there's one man who looks comfortable in depression, it is this guy. Like, what I love about Ryan Gosling just in general is he looks like the most relaxed actor I've ever seen on camera.
Yeah.
His shoulders are just like down here, like so chill all the time.
I don't know that I've ever noticed his actual shoulders.
You never notice it? He just looks like
Well, no,
so
he's
comfortable.
awesome. He does look comfortable because he's great at what he does.
Yeah.
And that's an amazing film. And actually one of the first films that I watched, because I didn't necessarily know who he was at that time, I think it was like 2005, that made me go, who is this person?
Yeah.
And start looking up into his movies that came after that.
Yeah.
Really, because he really nails it in this movie. And the relationship between him and the student, which is so lovely and pure, but then it sort of is looked at as inappropriate by sort of the people around them, but the way that they kind of save each other is awesome. And
it's a beautiful film.
it's a great film.
It's a beautiful.
That's a great
hard
number
to
one.
watch movie. Hard to watch movie. What's
It
your
is.
number 5?
My number 5. Wait, I'm not sure if 5 being my favorite or 5 being.
No,
and
number
then
1 is your
Number 1
favorite.
is my favorite.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
so
usually how lists work.
no.
What's your number 1 choice? What's your
Oh,
number 5 choice?
Yeah. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
I think 5 is the highest number, therefore more powerful, therefore the more. But that makes more sense.
That's a great technical argument.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with Lars and the Real Girl.
Lars and the Real Girl.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great one.
That's
not on my list, but I really thought about putting that on.
I love that movie because the subject matter itself, with being in love with a life-size human doll, is so ridiculous. With a lesser actor, I feel like would not have played as heartfelt and sympathetic as he played that role, because it would have been just ridiculous. I feel like not any other actor, but a lesser actor would have just made the whole thing kind of stupid. But he really opened the door to sympathizing with that character, and I believed that relationship that he had with this doll.
There was a subtlety to that performance, backed with an understanding of comedic talent. That was the first role I recall where it was like, he's doing a comedy. Like,
yeah, but it's a dark comedy, and
it's
it
really dark
it's
comedy.
this like heartfelt relationship and people trying to save him from himself.
But he's so depressed, and this is the only thing that's making him happy. You know?
This is another where he is comfortable in depression.
Yeah, no, I feel like Gosling is the master at depression. Like,
I've never really labeled it like that, but I agree.
He's depressed in a lot of movies he does. He's very depressed.
Is that why we like him?
I think because he's not afraid to bare his soul. I don't think he's
go.
afraid to bare his vulnerability.
Yeah.
Because he looks confident while he's baring his soul, which is weird. Because normally when someone does that, they kind of like hide away a little bit.
Yeah.
He can like still like, I don't know, he's got that stare, those eyes.
He's like magnetic.
He is magnetic.
You can't not look at him
Nah,
for lots of
love
different
him.
reasons.
Oh, God, I love him. Anyway, my number 4 is one of his comedies, The Nice Guys. I contemplated between the three comedies I know he's done: Crazy Stupid Love, Lars and the Real Girl, and The Nice Guys. And The Nice Guys to me was a real delight because that character in there, he's another depressed guy, but it's a straight up, like, it is a comedic performance.
Yeah.
And this guy is not cool. He's not, like, same thing with Lars and the Real Girl. I feel like a lot of films, even when he's sad and stuff, he's still a cool guy. In Nice Guys, he's not a cool dude. He's a coward. He's an alcoholic. He's kind of a con artist. The only thing you see about him that's great is that he really loves his daughter, and he's overall like a good person, but he does illegal shit. His chemistry with Russell Crowe was amazing. But he really does steal the show for me in it, because you think like Russell Crowe, Ryan Gosling, two cool actors coming together.
Yeah.
And Russell Crowe is cool, but Ryan Gosling goes the total opposite kind of role in terms of playing a coward, which I really, really enjoyed. I thought he was fucking hysterical in it. And The Nice Guys is my like third favorite movie this year. So yeah, that's definitely on this list. So it needs to move
up to the top of my Netflix queue.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Okay.
I'm surprised you haven't seen it.
Okay.
It's actually really disappointing. I mean, you're my teacher.
I mean, there's a lot of movies. Especially this time of year.
Only 200 that have ever come out.
Well, I'm not that old.
Fair point. And I am.
My number 4 is Blue Valentine.
Great choice.
Yep.
Yeah, that's on my list.
This is 3.
What's your 4? No. I did my 5. You did your 5. And I did my 4. And you do your 4. We're learning how a list works in this video.
Really? This is an instructional how to use a list video.
Yeah, you've done one of your movies.
Yes.
So.
I didn't put them in order even on my list. Blue Valentine, because this is a spectacular movie, and him and Michelle Williams are like, will forever go down in history. Well, except for him and Rachel McAdams, I don't know, like couple love story.
Yeah.
That this one obviously is the destruction of a love story, and The Notebook being the opposite.
Blue Valentine's like the realistic interpretation of The Notebook. Yeah.
It's the depressing.
It's like, here's what happens when two people who are truly not compatible get together. The Notebook's bullshit in a lot of ways.
But they went through the ringer with that. The Notebook is not bullshit.
It's
I just heard that. It's so that is like a profound love story.
I don't know.
Come across any girl that will say The Notebook is bullshit, and we will die a little bit inside, because we all in the world.
I love The Notebook as a movie, but I think like in terms of like real life, I just don't think these two people would have been healthy for each other in any capacity.
But that's why they broke up. But then they couldn't stay away because their love was. They were meant for each other.
Some people consider that toxic love or codependency, depending on how you view it. You know.
I mean, no.
That's what we do.
No,
we fight.
Because then it gets to the end, and it's like 60 years later.
There's a montage of them abusing each other.
Well, sometimes love is tumultuous and violent.
Sorry.
And I guess that is probably
why is Blue Valentine great again?
Because
it captures all that.
Because it captures all that, and then they divorce, and apparently in Greg's mind that's healthy.
Yeah.
No, but it was beautiful, and that relationship was just so layered and so connected, and you see the whole story from when they met to when the destruction of it, and all of the things that came in. And I'm not being very eloquent, but I love that movie.
I think you're doing a great job. I once tried doing one of the scenes from
You did.
In class.
It was great.
Really?
Yeah, you did
like
a great job.
I just wasn't doing a good job. Anyway, we're not going to talk about that. She lies when the camera's rolling.
I do.
Number 3 for me is The Place Beyond the Pines. Have you seen this movie?
Yes.
I loved him in that movie.
He's a badass in this movie.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
He's a depressed guy, but he's super badass in that film.
But see, I think his depression, there's like this really, it's layered in with this really like good guy. You know what I mean? Because everything is, I think in all of these movies, is for like the betterment of the kid or the girl.
Yeah,
or like
exactly.
To sort of rescue and save at the destruction of himself.
Yeah, it's not black and white. Yeah, it doesn't just go with only depression. I do love that film. You know, he is like an anti-hero in a lot of ways. Not fully, but...
I mean, he's a bank robber.
Yeah. I mean, I saw the movie one time in the theater, and he's only in it like the first 45 minutes of the film. That's what everyone walked away talking about when the movie was... It's like
I don't remember him not being in the whole movie, because I also saw it in the theater. He's only in like the first 30 minutes?
45 minutes? Remember? I'm going to cut this part out of the video. He's only in it for like the first act of the film, because there's 3 separate stories being told. Even though he's the first story, and 2/3 of the movie proceed after, everyone is only talking about how great Ryan Gosling was in that film. What I love about
motorcycle stuff was rad.
And you see that he's really doing that shit. They do that one long take in the very beginning where he's like playing with a knife, and then he walks, like goes onto the motorcycle, goes in the cage.
No, he didn't do that.
That was really him.
He?
Yeah, it was really him in like the cage doing the like crazy carny motorcycle stuff. And
now I love him even more.
Yeah, a lot of people compare that role to Drive in the sense like, oh, he's a getaway driver again, you know, and badass, kind of lonely. The major difference for me in the Place Beyond the Pines was I felt that character had even more personality. In Drive, he felt like a guy who was empty. and placed me on the pines. He didn't feel like an empty guy. He felt like a guy
who had
was
a purpose.
Yeah, he felt like he was fulfilling a void, and that's why he was doing all this stuff.
Totally.
It's easy to identify with him. He's still got a lot of those great Ryan Gosling stare shots. The same guy who did Blue Valentine. Yeah, that to me was a very effective performance, and yeah, loved him in it. Loved him in it.
That's on my list too. Wait, that was mine.
Not.
That was mine.
That was mine.
God,
What is that was mine.
I need like a PowerPoint.
My list is written right here, and yours is right there. And yours is not on the list.
No, mine's on this. This is right there. Look, Place Beyond Pines. Right there.
Oh, it says you have 6 movies.
Well, because I figured you would have some of the same. I even have one on the back. It's called Overachieving People. Overachieving. Not really.
What's your number 3 choice?
Crazy Stupid Love.
That's a great one, yeah.
Have to have that because you mentioned it earlier.
There's a lot of great Ryan Gosling movies. Huh?
I went to his IMDb and I'm like, what am I forgetting? And like everything ended up on my list. But you talked earlier about him doing the comedy with Nice Guys, and him in this comedy is awesome. And I love that he can be in both places of that heavy, heavy emotional drama and still go on the ride with him.
Yeah.
And then be this like ridiculous character in these comedic movies. And I mean, the abs.
He was sexy as fucking Crazy Stupid Love.
I mean, what? Be better than The Gap.
Yeah.
That's my favorite. That's
You
my
want to
favorite
get out of
line
here?
in that movie.
I mean, Steve Carell's top billing in that movie. People liked Ryan Gosling a lot before that.
Yes.
But that was another one where people were like, he stole the show.
Well,
like,
it was one of the first comedies that we'd seen him in.
Yeah, because Lars and the Real Girl wasn't a huge comedy. It was an indie, dark comedy.
Right.
Crazy Stupid Love, while there's dark stuff in it, it's primarily a comedy. It's like a good feeling kind of film. That was a different kind of role, because while he tends to be confident in front of the camera, that was his most confident character he's ever done.
He's really good in the romantic comedies because he has just a way to make a girl swoon.
I feel like he
I don't know if you guys know that, but women swoon even upon hearing his name. So in a movie where he actually takes his shirt off and then he does the Dirty Dancing lift, and that's like his move. Like, guys, learn to do that. For real. You should learn to do that.
I don't have enough upper body strength to do that.
So maybe lift some weights or something.
I do lift weights. It's like when I bench press, I tend to use like 10 pounds.
Okay, well that,
you know,
that
I'm
could
trying
be
to
where
go
the
for more
problem
like,
is.
you know, a skinny look. Like I've achieved already.
You
I'm very skinny, obviously.
Yeah.
No pudges here.
Let's
move on.
Let's go to left turn. Okay,
Okay, but Crazy Stupid Love, he is really cool in that film, for sure.
I know you. Wait, is it your turn or my turn?
It's my turn, but what were you going to say?
No, because I know the one you're going to say. It's probably the same one I'm going to say.
You already said yours. That my number 2 is something you said already, which is Blue Valentine.
Oh, wait, we can say the same ones?
Yeah, we can say this is my list. This is my order, and this is your order.
I just thought it was a discussion of great Ryan Gosling movies, and you're using the same ones I'm using.
No, we share some of these.
Okay.
Blue Valentine for me is my number 2 choice. I sometimes wonder if that's my favorite performance of his. That is one of the hardest movies to watch. It's such a difficult film to actually sit through, because the film does a great job because it tells you the story of leading up to them meeting each other and getting married. Yeah. And it simultaneously cuts to the destruction of their relationship. Right. When it cuts to like them being good, like in the past, you totally buy it.
You just root for them.
Yeah, you believe it, you love them. There's moments where you're smiling because of how in love they are. And you completely forget that, oh yeah, in the future it's all gonna be fucked. When you get to the other part, when their relationship is falling apart, it's so authentic. You can identify with it. The arguments they're having are more than like a movie kind of improv argument.
Yeah. Well, that was also fantastic directing. And they went through the ringer. They actually went and lived in a house together for like a month.
With the kid too, I heard, right?
Yeah, where they had to sort of explore the realities of what this relationship.
They must have slept together. Yeah, come on, who wouldn't?
Be respectful of their talent and performance. I don't think that line was crossed.
They probably boned.
No, I disagree. I disagree.
You think they slept in the same bed? Lived in
I
the
don't
same
know.
roof,
we don't know that.
Got super into character.
Yeah. I mean, granted,
on.
I believe they were both single when they actually prepped for this movie, so it's not out of the realm of possibility, but they are professionals. Ryan Gosling, Michelle Williams are spectacularly
talented.
talented.
So about going into character.
I'm going to give it to their talent and their ability to not need to cross that line in order to get the performance that we saw.
I feel like as an actor, I would always need to cross that line, you know?
I don't think that that's part of being an actor. It's actually, it's not.
And I noticed none of the girls in acting class ever agree with me on this whenever we're doing scene work.
Yeah.
I'm like, it just seems like this is a necessary part of our relationship, you know.
Yeah. I think he needs to have the talk again.
The guys either, whenever you give me gay roles. Why do you only give me gay roles?
He chooses his own scenes.
Hey, Kyle. Yeah, Blue Valentine's hard to watch. What's your number 2 choice?
Okay, hold on. Since we can say
you can say whatever you want.
It wasn't the one that I was gonna say.
What are you?
The number 2 choice, and it's funny because it is a movie where he could. I'm gonna go ahead and say maybe only has like 5 lines of dialogue. Can you guess?
Drive.
Yes.
Okay.
He's so amazing
Yeah, he's
in this
amazing.
movie, and he like doesn't talk. And you had brought it up earlier of like the Ryan Gosling stare. This movie, it might not be the greatest movie of all time because you know it.
It's one of my top 5 favorite films of all time.
It is so good, and you can't take your eyes off of him, but for different reasons this time, because he's just so cool and calm and collected and like powerful and intense, and the driving, like the racing in that movie is
I heard he had to take apart an entire vehicle. Even though he doesn't do much driving in the film, the director thought the knowledge this character has on a car is so important. Yeah. So he had to take apart an entire car, like to very bits, and then reassemble the whole thing.
I can see how that would be
he did that.
A beneficial exercise.
Yeah. Well, Drive is actually my number 1 choice. Drive is my number 1 favorite Ryan Gosling film. I had only seen The Notebook prior to watching Drive. And I liked The Notebook. I didn't love The Notebook. Like, I wasn't like, oh, I'm all about Ryan Gosling. He did a lot of films that people were raving about that I never saw, and then he did Drive, and then I remember going on Rotten Tomatoes and seeing that like everyone loves this new movie that I haven't seen a trailer for.
And he like doesn't speak.
I'm gonna go check it out. And then I watched it, and I fell in love with Ryan Gosling, and I binge watched a shit ton of his films. Especially at the time I was at in my life, to watch a character, it was one of those roles where it's like, man, it's just they don't do it in an expositional way at all. This guy is an empty dude. He's an empty guy who finds feelings for like loving this random stranger in his apartment, where he becomes a protector and a warrior for her. My favorite scene in that whole movie is the head smashing scene in the elevator. Yeah. Because that's such that's a great moment of violence being a big representation of who this guy is. Of you're about to kill the woman I've fallen in love with, and here's what I'll do to you if you try to hurt her. And then she sees like that monster he's capable of becoming. It's like a werewolf moment where he's like turns into a monster in that moment. You see there's also like a boy on the inside. He's also like an innocent boy in the way he like treats her and talks to her and the way he smiles and stuff. Like he becomes like a child with her. And I really love it, and I really identified with that kind of character at that time.
Well, leave it to a woman to bring out the best in a man.
Yes. Yes. Women always do that for me.
Right?
That's why I'm very appropriate.
I don't know necessarily always, but
sometimes a woman can bring out the worst in you.
Yeah. When it's the right woman, it'll bring out the best in you. So that was his right woman. Yeah. Because he was like a robot before that.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by empty. And then he found a reason to like love and to have a purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he just started smashing heads, y'all.
Yeah, man. And he was just badass as fuck in that film.
Yeah,
he was a very depressed guy.
The jacket, it made me want to get driving gloves.
Yes. Just the way he walks too is just so comfortable. Like, I don't know how that guy is just so comfortable.
I think he practiced that walk. I think that I think he actively chose that walk because it was a sexy walk.
Yeah, it's a sexy walk. I like the Gosling.
Yeah.
The cockling. All right, what was your number 1?
My number 1.
What's your number 1 favorite Ryan Gosling performance of all time?
I mean, there's so many. But I'm going to go with The Notebook.
Really?
Come on.
That's your favorite one?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Because the movie as a whole is awesome.
Yes.
And every girl dreams of a love story like that. And I actually put it on the back of my list here because I was like, wow, that's not going to be my number 1. But we've gone through so many of the lovely ones, and I didn't put them in order because I don't know how to use a list yet.
Yeah.
That Notebook is what we have left.
Why is that your favorite Ryan Gosling performance, though?
Because he's like the bad boy that does everything in his life to get her. And
that's a good point, actually.
You know what I mean? His whole life, like he changed.
He does build that whole fence and house.
The movie itself is beautifully written. It's a love story to go down with the ages. But he's like charming and witty and fun, and there's no brooding in that movie. And I think that character could have easily be played not misogynistic, but that's not the word. But like the brooding sort of cocky.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Arrogance. And he didn't have that. He was just this charming guy that you can't say no to.
It's just, to me, The Notebook is like what Titanic is for DiCaprio. Like, DiCaprio's...
Yeah, the greatest movie he's ever made.
I mean, like, DiCaprio's great in Titanic, but it's still like when...
It's still the greatest movie he's ever made.
DiCaprio was still like a pretty boy at that time to me. And Gosling was still like a pretty boy to me at that time.
Well, you have something against pretty boys?
I just don't really care for pretty boys, honestly.
That's not true, because you have a love affair with Ryan Gosling, and I hate
But Ryan Gosling's not a... Ryan Gosling's a man now, though. The way DiCaprio like evolved from pretty boy into being a man
is still a pretty boy. He's a pretty
technically,
man.
yeah,
Okay,
he's a pretty man. He's a pretty man, but he's not a pretty boy.
Well, so is Gosling. He's a pretty man, and they have to.
We really don't have a disagreement here. It just feels like we do. We're very much in agreement on everything.
There's a lot of movies. It's hard to say what your number one is because he's kind of great in all of them. Yeah. I have seen a couple movies that were like. But I feel like it wasn't his fault.
Yeah, there's a couple movies he's been in that aren't that great, but there's no movies I've seen where he's personally headlined that I'm like, oh, this is just not good. Because I've even seen, like, there's one movie called, like, All Good Things that he did with Kirsten Dunst. That I'm like, yeah, it's like an okay movie, but I think he does a really good job in it, you know?
I haven't seen him where I haven't liked him or the character. Yeah. The film itself might have not been over the moon in my brain. I've never seen him be terrible or bad.
Gosling is the man.
He is.
All right, guys, what are your favorite Ryan Gosling performances? YouTube questions. If you're new to the channel, subscribe today, become a reject. Follow Kimberly Bigsby on It's Kimberly Bigsby on Instagram and at Kimberly Bigsby on Twitter, where she tweets and retweets inspirational shit. Go watch La La Land in the theaters whenever it comes out in December. I'm being paid $50,000 to promote it right now. So
wait.
Yeah. This video won't even make enough views to warrant that kind of money. But
I mean, I need a job change.
Yeah. Yeah.
I need to stop attempting to be in the movies and just review them.
Just review them. They pay you way more. Yeah, way more to just talk about why they're cool.
All right. Done.
I'm a sellout. Take care.